Okay. Now, okay, do I have your permission to record every Zoom session until the end of the semester?
That's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. All right, I have to do that because when you guys come in from now on, I am going to be in the middle of teaching. I might not get a chance to ask you, and the recording will already start. So I just wanted to get your permission. All right, so as I was saying, guys, when we do meet on campus, it is the expectation that you will wear a mask. The classroom has already been configured. By the way, if you don't want your face on camera, you can turn off your webcam if you don't want your face on camera. So the classroom has been configured already so that each seat is 6 feet apart. So you are going to be in a very large auditorium style classroom. So we have plenty of space to accommodate about 30 students in the classroom, all right? Now, if you have some kind of concern about that, let me know so we can figure out what else to do for you. All right, guys, so going back to the syllabus. Now, on the syllabus, I'm not gonna sit here and read it to you. If you haven't downloaded the syllabus, please take some time and download it, look at it. Now, here's what's important. You need the access code. I noticed some of you have already logged on to My Math Lab. It's very easy to log on to My Math Lab. By the way, you do get the first 2 weeks of My Math Lab for free, the first 14 days for free. So when you go into Blackboard, there is a link to My Math Lab. You want to select the link. It will take you directly into My Math Lab. So you register yourself into My Math Lab. If you don't have your access code, it's okay for you to get started without the access code. And then once you get your access code, you go back in and put it in. Now, remember guys, you get the first 2 weeks for free. So if you don't have your access code after the first 2 weeks, it will expire and you will no longer have access. So make sure you get your access code. There's a couple of you in here that are in dual enrollment. For those of you in dual enrollment, you need to go to that centralized location by the bus depot in St. Lucie West and pick up your textbook as well as your access code, guys. All right. Now, once you log into My Math Lab, you will notice there's a total of 15 homework assignments and 8 quizzes. All of them have been open for you. There's due dates associated with them. I am going to be sharing my screen very quickly, very soon with you guys, so I can show you some of the due dates. None of the due dates are set in stone. However, the first thing I need to tell you guys is this. The due dates always coincide with a test day. The due dates coincide with a test day. So right now, the first set of due dates, the first set of assignments that are due, are going to be due on September 21st. So September 21st is when we're going to have our first test. And that just happens to be our first class session. So we are meeting on September 21st. The assignments will be due by midnight. And we are also going to be taking our first test. And it will be over chapter 1. It will be 25 multiple choice questions. You will need a Scantron. You can pick one up from the bookstore. They're $0.25 a piece. And so when we meet on the 21st, I will spend the first part of class on a review. And after I'm done with the review, I will distribute the test and you'll have the remainder of class to complete it. All right, guys, ask me questions. I love questions. By the way, you can also drop your questions in the chat box. You know, if while I'm speaking, you have a question that comes to your mind, just drop it into the chat box and I'll skim over and answer your questions, all right? So guys.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I guess when I was saying I was confused earlier because I only took courses for the first time last semester, but everything, there was a schedule of activities and all the modules were listed on the left in Blackboard. So everything that we're doing is not in Blackboard, it's all in My Math Lab?
It is, okay, My Math Lab is in Blackboard. So if you go into My Math Lab from Blackboard, you will see all the, yeah, I will show you all the assignments. I will share my screen with you very shortly and I'll show you where they are, okay?
Okay.
Now, if you guys want me to go ahead and include the list for you, and you just take the assignments from Blackboard and include it in the list, I can always do that. The only reason why I don't like publishing it, Jennifer, is because I'm very flexible. If I'm teaching a class and I don't feel comfortable with you guys taking a test, I'm going to push back things. I'm going to postpone things. So I like to get a feel for where my students are at before I go ahead and test my students. So if we're working through chapter 3 and I don't feel you guys are ready and we have sufficient time to go ahead and postpone the test, I'm going to do that. But I feel like if I go ahead and put it on paper, I have to set that, basically stick to that date with you guys. And I can't, you know, wiggle around the date. So I don't like to be restricted like that. So,
I like your wiggle.
all right, guys.
Just to clarify, all the tests are multiple choice, correct?
No, not all the tests are multiple choice. And here's why I'm saying no, because let's go back to chapter 3 again. If chapter 3 doesn't happen in class, then it's going to be on my math lab. And when I administer a test on my math lab, I don't make it all multiple choice. If it's in class, it will be all multiple choice. Like I said to Jennifer, I haven't decided if it's going to be in class or if it is going to be on Zoom. I'm not on Zoom, on my math lab. So therefore, I can't tell you exactly that it's going to be all multiple choice. The majority of the time, guys, my tests, they are all multiple choice. It's just that this is a different time for us, okay? So if I'm online and I'm administering an exam, it's gonna have some free response questions and maybe a few multiple choice questions, and the multiple choice questions tend to be those word problems, okay? So we'll see how we progress along, and then I'll let you know. I tell you guys everything anyways. All right.
The Scantrons, are they only available because only the Fort Pierce store is open? Is that correct?
Really? I wasn't aware that just the Fort Pierce store was open. Listen, worst case scenario, if I have to grab some Scantrons from my day job and bring them in, I'll do that. Or I'll get the math department to send some over, okay? Worst case scenario. Don't worry about it.
I have a question. I
Mhm.
have a question. So let's say you were to postpone the quiz. I'm sorry. Yeah, the quizzes.
Mhm.
With that being said, will you be like, are you going to postpone the homework as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
If I postpone a test, I postpone the assignments as well. I postpone the quizzes as well as the homework. Absolutely.
I also have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So I'm looking at the assignments now on my math lab, and it's saying that up to homework number 5 was due the 21st.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm late?
No, the 25th of September,
Oh, okay, I'm reading it wrong.
9/21.
Never mind.
Yeah, we're still in the 8th month. Okay, let me see. Will the Zoom meetings be counted for attendance? I do count the Zoom meetings for attendance, okay? This is just a way of keeping track of who I'm coming in contact with. So yes, I do count. By the way, I have an attendance code coming up very shortly. I'll give it to you so you guys can log yourselves in. We do attendance on Quickly. I'm going to give you the code. You go into Blackboard once again, you click on attendance, and then you type in the code to take attendance for the day. Now, guys, listen, I don't care when you come in. I will type in the code in the chat box. You just go ahead and take your attendance, all right?
Quick question, I'm sorry. So
That's
the
okay.
Zoom meeting is every Monday, right?
Yes, every Monday at the same time that the class is scheduled for. If we're not in class face-to-face, we are going to be on Zoom. And
Okay, that's how you and that's how you count the attendance, just to double check, make sure.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
making sure. Thank you.
Yes, I just want to make contact with you guys. All right. Anybody else? Okay, guys. So let us go ahead and move on. So besides the assignments, okay, what else is important? Now, you remember I told you we're going to have the first test. It's going to have 25 multiple choice questions. In total, we're going to have 4 tests. Out of the 4 tests, I'm dropping the lowest, okay? And then we're going to have a comprehensive final exam. It's going to be 30 multiple choice questions. And it is put out by the department, 30 multiple choice questions. Now, additionally, students have always asked me, where's the extra credit? Where's the extra credit? I don't know. It's like you guys have been brainwashed into the extra credit. So I started implementing an extra credit portion about 2 years ago. So the extra credit is simply this. If you complete all your assignments pertaining to the test by 6 p.m. on test night with a 70 or better, you get 5 extra credit points towards your test. So for example, chapter 1, I think it has like, for the first chapter, we're going to do, I think, 5 homework assignments and 3 quizzes. So if you get everything completed by the 21st at 6 p.m. With a 70 or better, you'll get 5 extra credit points on your test. So the extra credit points is available, but you do have to do a little bit of work for it. All right, guys. Any questions? Okay.
I have a
Go ahead.
question. I'm so sorry. So I'm looking at the due dates and I show that quiz 3 that covers 1.5, 0.6, 0.6, and 0.7 is due in October. So does that?
I have to adjust that.
Okay.
It's on the 21st. It's due on the 21st.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? No? Okay, so then let's keep going. Remember, guys, you can always chat, type your questions in the chat box, okay? Can you guys see the screen right here?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So right here is all your assignments for the class. Now, by a show of hand, guys, you can raise your hand or put a thumbs up. How many of you have never used my math lab before? Anybody? Okay. Oh, okay, Jennifer, I see you. By the way, guys, remember Zoom has the finger up or whatever feature on there. There's a way to do that. The emoticons, the reactions, you can use those. Okay, so then I will go ahead and take a moment and show you a couple of things in here, Jennifer. By the way, guys, my math lab is a wonderful platform. I love my math lab. I've been using it for quite some time. It is phenomenal. So I will go in and show you how to navigate some of these assignments in a minute. So right here, guys, you will notice I have the first set of assignments. The due date is on the left side. I think it was Jennifer who was asking, you know, where's the list of assignments for the class? So here they are, Jennifer, right here. So as a student on the left side of your screen, you will see a menu of options. If you select the assignment option, once you select that, it'll pop up all the assignments you have available for the class, and they're all open until the end of the semester, okay? So pretty much for chapter 1, we do have a review section right here, homework number 1, chapter 0. I don't plan on going over that. This is just a review of factoring. Same thing with quiz number 1. I will start my lesson with 1.2. I'm gonna have to come back to 1.1 because it's about graphing on the graphing calculator, and I have to download the graphing calculator. Okay, guys, so as you can tell, for the first chapter, it's due on the 21st. So all of these assignments right here, they're due on the 21st, and that's also the day we're going to have our first test. The next set of assignments that are due pertain to chapter 2, and those are due on 10/12. That is October 12th. We got homework 6, homework 7, homework 8, and then 2 quizzes. So that's a total of 5 assignments, okay? Now, right now, I am not sure what we're going to do about chapter 3, but it is tentatively scheduled for November 9th. And November 9th, guys, is that one of our in-class dates? Let me double check on here. Nope, November 9th is not. It's one of our online dates. So it looks like chapter 3 may be online. And if chapter 3 is online and administer the test online, then this means that the test will have free response questions, the majority of it free response questions, and then a few multiple choice questions. And then the last test is going to be over chapter 4, and that is scheduled for, okay, some of these dates are kind of off over here, okay, that is scheduled for November 30th. I'm not seeing the remaining assignments, but it's November 30th, and November 30th is definitely going to be an in-class test, and that one is going to have 25 multiple choice questions. By the way, chapter 2 is also going to be in class because that's a face-to-face session, and that's also going to be 25 multiple choice questions. Okay, guys, so that's all the assignments right here, all right, for the class. So I'm gonna take a moment here and go in to look at an assignment, for those of you who've never used My Math Lab before, if I could get this thing to navigate down there, all right. So if you've never used My Math Lab, guys, just so you know, on the homework section, typically when you go in there, you can try these problems as many times as you want to. I'm gonna make this quick because I know some of you are very comfortable with My Math Lab and you don't need to be listening to this part right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab one assignment so I can go ahead and show it off to those of you who haven't used My Math Lab. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go into homework number 4, okay? Hold on a second, my computer is still brewing up. Wait a minute. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can go into it. Okay, guys, it's not letting me go in. All right. It's still buffering. Okay, it's still buffering. All right, so let me go ahead and grab the attendance for you as this thing is still buffering. So the attendance, let me find your attendance right here. Hold on a minute. All right. And it's going to be a code. And to take attendance, guys, you just go ahead and go to Blackboard. Click on the attendance link. And the code for today is 4352. 4352. I'm typing it in the chat box. Remember, type your questions in the chat box if you have any questions. All right. So 4352 is the attendance. And let me see if I can go into that assignment now. I just want to do a quick demo for you guys so you can see.
It was 352? Or
4352.
oh, 4.
Yeah. And remember, it's in the chat. You don't have to do it now. You can also do it later. You'll have until about 8:30, 9 o'clock to do it. All right, so now I can go into the assignment. Are you, okay, you guys should be seeing my screen. It's taking its sweet, precious time. All right, guys, so here's an assignment. By the way, typically when I create these assignments, I try not to put more than 20 questions on the assignments. I like giving you guys practice problems, but I don't like giving a whole bunch of questions, okay? So guys, here is assignment 4, homework number 4 over lesson 1.5. So I'm just gonna go ahead and navigate through this. To navigate through it, I'm using the forward button. I can also use the drop-down menu, okay? And I can select a question from the drop-down menu.
I still see your assignment manager. I don't see a lesson.
Oh, whoa. Okay. Why didn't it work? Let me try this again. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay. Well, thanks for saying that, Jennifer. I thought you guys were seeing it. Okay, I'm gonna try it one more time. Okay, how about now? Can you guys see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to navigate through this. See, I'm moving forward. This is one way to navigate through the assignment. Backwards button. The button's also at the bottom right. Bottom right, you can move forward or backwards, okay? Now, I can also use the drop-down menu and I can go in and select a question. By the way, I don't know if you guys just noticed this. I'll go back into it in a minute. Hold up a minute, because my computer is a little slow right now. Okay, so okay, so there's the question. So let's say you're working on this problem here, guys. You don't know how to work it out. you can go over here on the top top right, click on question help. You have two options for question help. Help me solve this or view an example. Most students prefer to use the second one. By the way, guys, this is that personalized tutor I'm talking about. So you go into view an example and it will show you step by step how to do the problem. What many of my students like to do is to move the example problem to the side and then write their problem down on a piece of paper. And as they're going through the steps and the example problem, they are working out their problem. You see how it's coaching you through how to work out the actual problem? You see that, guys? Step by step, you can go through it. Personally, I wouldn't recommend using the first option under the help menu. I would use the second option because here it's actually going through the steps. The first option, it goes through the steps, but you have to participate. So if you don't want to participate, use the second option. All right. Now, the beautiful thing about My Math Lab is this, guys. When you're in the homework section, if let's say you tried to solve a problem the first time, you check your answer and it's wrong, okay? You go in again, you check your answer and it's wrong, okay? You go in one more time and it's wrong. This is the final check. So on the third try, notice what it's saying, skill builder. As in, maybe because the reason you're not getting this problem right is because you are lacking some kind of skill. So it'll give you a skill builder, okay, where you go through it step by step, and then you can go back and redo the question, and it will give you full credit for it. So that's the beautiful thing about having My Math Lab. It's got a built-in tutor for you. Now, when you are going through the quizzes, though, it's not the same. When you go through the quizzes, guys, you actually have to do the entire quiz, submit it for grading, and then it'll tell you which questions you got wrong. So whichever questions you got wrong, you want to go back into the homework section and practice a little bit more. Now, what I wanted to show you guys is this right here. 20% deducted from questions completed after the due date, okay? So if you don't have an opportunity to complete all your assignments by the due date, you can still complete them after the due date. The only thing is, those questions that you do after the due date, they will have a 20% reduction. So for example, if you completed problems 1 to 10, but you forgot to do numbers 11 through 14, you can always go back and work on them. But for questions 11 through 14, they will deduct or reduce the grade by 20%, all right? Any questions, guys? Ask me questions. You can type them into the chat.
I do. I have a question. So, I'm going to show my age here a little bit. I have two kids in St. Lucie County. And when we went out on COVID, one was in Algebra 1 and the other one was in Algebra 2. And so I was helping tutor them. So I was nervous because my son had to take an EOC, and the teacher kept telling me, you can't teach him that way because on the EOC, he'll get it wrong. So when we do our problems, and we learned it the way we learned it 25 years ago, is it still okay if it works?
Yes, absolutely. That is the beautiful thing about,
as long as you get the right answer.
Yes, I don't care how you get there. Just get there anyways. Get there if you can. Who sings that song, Jennifer? I know somebody sings a song like that. I don't care how you get there. Just get there anyways.
Not sure. Maybe some of the younger girls know.
No, I don't think it's in their time. I think it's Carly Simon or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't care how you get, just get there. And that is why I love math, okay? You might think of the question one way, I might think of it a different way. We can still all come out with the correct answer. So there's not one specific way. You have to do the question in order to come up with the answer to the problem, okay? And I'm not that instructor that will tell you, you have to do it this way. Okay? So, all right, guys. Let me see. Any other questions for me?
Yes, I have another question.
Okay, go ahead.
So you said that on the 21st, we're gonna take the quiz?
The first test.
Oh, the chapter, okay,
Chapter 1.
that makes sense. Okay,
So,
that's all.
so the first test is on the 21st. The first set of assignments, they're also due on the 21st. So what I like to do when I set up my assignments is to make sure the assignment due dates, they coincide with the test date. So if your assignments are due, then that means that you have a test. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, guys. Any other questions? If you guys don't have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and do some teaching here before I let you guys go. I don't plan on keeping you guys past 8 o'clock because I want to teach for about an hour and then leave some room for those of you who want to ask me some questions, so you can ask me your questions. No? Nothing? Okay, so then I am going to go over lesson 1.2. And then next time when we meet, if we need to go over the calculator, oh, that reminds me, I didn't talk about the calculator. You do need a good calculator for this class, guys. It doesn't have to be a graphing calculator. However, for those of you moving on to the higher level math courses like the pre-calculus, the trig, the calculus, if you're moving on to those higher level math courses, you might want to go ahead and get yourself a nice little graphing calculator. They are expensive. And so you might want to look maybe on Craigslist or ask one of your friends to borrow theirs. But if you're not moving on to the upper level math courses, you can get by with the scientific calculator. You guys hear my dog carrying on? He wants to go outside. Hold on a second, guys. Let me get someone to take him out. Hold on. All right. So I am going to teach lesson 1.1. Let me see. Hold on a second. I have to allow sharing. All right. So let's try that again. Okay, guys, so remember all of this is being recorded. Can you guys see the whiteboard?
Yeah.
All right, now as we're going through this, remember if you have questions, you can type them in the chat box and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Okay, so I am starting with lesson 1.2. And lesson 1.2, guys, is on solving linear equations. Now, when we talk about a linear equation is a first degree equation. And it looks something like this. AX plus B equals 0. And we call it a first degree equation, guys, because the power on the X is 1. That's why we call it a first degree equation. The goal of a linear equation is to find that one X value that will make the original problem true. By the way, not all linear equations will have one exact value that will make the original problem true. Sometimes you cannot find a single value that makes it true. And sometimes all the real numbers will make the problem true. So the big question is, how do we get to that one value that will make the problem true if it does have a clear solution? So here are some steps, guys, to finding the solutions to these equations. Step number 1, we're going to eliminate the grouping symbols. And the grouping symbols are those parentheses. Grouping symbols, those parentheses, the brackets, the square brackets. You rarely see these, but every once in a while they pop up. And how do we get rid of them? We're going to use the distributive property. So we're going to be using the distributive property. Okay. Now, let me know, guys, if you need an example of the distributive property, because sometimes I'm just carrying along And if you need one, let me know, okay?
Yes, can you provide an example? Because I'm not familiar with what that is.
Okay, so here's an example. 3 times the quantity, 5x plus 2 equals to 9. So here in this particular problem, you notice there's parentheses over here. I've got parentheses. I need to eliminate the parentheses. This 3 in front of the parentheses is indicating multiplication. So I'm going to take this 3 and distribute it or multiply it with every term inside the parentheses so I can eliminate those parentheses. So 3 times the 5x would give me a 15x. And then 3 times the 2 would give me 6. By carrying out that multiplication of the 3 over the parentheses, that eliminates the parentheses. So that's the first step, guys, getting rid of the parentheses by using the distributive property. All right, so I'm going to move on to step number 2. Now, step number 2, okay, can be interchanged with step number 1 because step number 2 is eliminating, and yes, we are going to see equations that have fractions. Don't be terrified of the fractions. I am going to show you how to work with them in this step right here. Eliminate fractions by multiplying each term by the LCD. And what does LCD stand for, guys?
Lowest common denominator.
Excellent, lowest common denominator. So 1/2 x plus 1/3 is equal to 1/6. Here's a little problem with a lot of fractions in there, 3 fractions to be precise. Most students prefer not to work with the fractions. So our first step is to find the lowest common denominator in order to multiply each term by that LCD so we can eliminate the fractions. So the question is, what is the LCD between 2, 3, and 6?
6.
Yes, 6. So then you would proceed to multiplying each fraction by 6. Every fraction gets multiplied by 6. Every fraction gets multiplied by 6. Every single term. Remember, each term must be multiplied by the LCD. So we can eliminate out the fraction. So when we're multiplying here 6 times 1/2 or half of 6, that's going to give us 3x. Another way to look at this is 2 goes into 6 how many times? 3 times. 3 times 1x is 3x. Let's do it with the second fraction. 3 goes into 6 how many times? 2 times. And you take this 2 and multiply it by 1, so that gives you 2. And then last but not least, the 6's, they cancel out, leaving you with 1. So now, guys, the fractions have been eliminated, so you have a simpler problem to work with. Doesn't this look easier? Right? Layla looks like she's like, okay, this is too easy for me. Okay, Layla, we're gonna get there. All right, so guys, here comes the next one. Next step is to go ahead and combine like terms. Now, when it comes to combining like terms, sometimes you have the terms on the same side, sometimes they're on opposite sides. So you may have to, every once in a while, you may have to use inverse operations. And by that I mean, if a term is adding on one side and you want to go ahead and move it to the other side, you would do its inverse and subtract. Likewise, if it was multiplying and you wanted to move it to the other side or clear it out, you would divide. That's the inverse operations we're talking about. So guys, going back to that little problem from earlier, 3x plus 2 is equal to 1. We need to solve this. The 2 needs to be combined with the 1. So since the 2 is adding, we're going to do its inverse and subtract the 2 from both sides. So we get the 2's cancel out on the left side. We bring down the 3x, and then 1 take away 2 leaves us with a -1. So we're just combining the like terms together, the 2 with the 1. They're alike, so we combine them together. All right, guys. So step 4 is the part where we're going to isolate the variable. And to isolate the variable, we're going to have to do inverse operations, okay? So we're either going to divide, I forgot to put my step number here, divide or multiply to isolate the variable. Divide or multiply to isolate the variable. So this is step number 4 right here. And so if I go back to my little problem here, 3x equals to -1, I want to solve for x. The 3 is multiplying x. So I do the inverse of multiplication and divide both sides by 3. So then this cancels out, leaving me with x is equal to -1/3. And guys, that's the whole point of this, to get to that value that will make the original problem true. That's the whole point. Solve for x. Get the x isolated on one side, and once you get there, you're pretty much done with your problem. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, that was easy. That was too easy. By the way, it doesn't hurt to check the solution, guys. It doesn't hurt at all to check your solution. Actually, you should make it a habit, especially if you are doing a test and you're not sure about your solution. Sometimes even when you're sure, you should go and check the solution. So guys, let me give you a nice little example here. So here comes example 1. Let me use a different color here. Example 1 is 2 times x minus 1 plus 3 is equal to x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1. Okay, so now let's work this one out. You guys should try it and see if you could come up with the correct answer. Remember, I like questions, guys. If you have a question, drop it in the chat. You can always ask the question. Turn on your mic and ask the question.
If that's my picture's covering it, it's the end of that, in the parentheses says x plus 2?
The last parenthesis is x plus 1. By the way, you can move your picture around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you go to the top of it, you can move your picture around. Just click on it and hold it.
Perfect.
And move it
Thank you.
around. And you can also annotate on here. If you click at the top of the screen, there's an option. It says view options. You can click on the annotate, which allows you to write on my screen. All right, guys, so give it a try. I am going to start with the first step, where I'm going to distribute to eliminate those parentheses. Now be careful with that second parenthesis because you're actually distributing a negative. So the first step is to distribute to get rid of the parentheses. And then once we distribute, guys, this is what we'll end up with. So check your work and see how you're doing. On the left side, I'm going to add, so I get 2x plus 1 is equal to, I'm going to combine the x minus 3x, so it's going to give me a negative 2x. Did anybody get an answer yet?
-1, x equals
Okay. I hear -1. Well, let's check. I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So I get 4x plus 1 is equal to, these two cancel out, -2. And then I subtract -1 from both sides. Apparently I'm running out of room here, so let me erase the top. So here, the 1 and then, ooh, Shazam, I didn't mean to erase the number here, okay? The 1 and the -1, they cancel each other out because that was a plus sign here. So I'm left with a 4x on the left side. And on the right side, the -3 minus 1 turns out to be a -4. And then the last step, of course, is to divide both sides by +4. So yes, x is equal to -1. You guys were right. That wasn't too bad.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, man.
So on when we combine the like terms after we distributed, right? I'm not sure how you got the -2x, because in my head, or on this paper, I keep getting x minus 3. How would you get -2x instead of -4x?
Okay, so I'm gonna give it to you as basic as possible. Look, man, you have a positive x, and then you've got 3 negative x's. And remember, a negative and a positive cancels each other out. So these two cancel out, and there's your 2 negative x's. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the other thing you could think of, there's a 1 coefficient right here. So 1x take away 3x leaves you with -2x.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's my fault.
No, we're here to learn, man. Remember that. We're here to learn. All right. So guys, do you guys feel like you need another one like this?
I have one last question. I am so
Yes.
sorry. Like it just went over my head and I was trying to figure out what happened.
Okay, do you need me to go back?
Yes.
All right, there we go.
Okay, so on the initial part prior to this, whenever we had 2 parentheses, x minus 1 plus 3, to x minus 3, why didn't we combine x minus 3 as like one single term, I guess?
Okay.
And then multiply that by the square.
All right, let me see here. So it sounds to me like you're going way back to the beginning of the problem. Hold on a second, let me go back. No, I can't go back that far. All right, so I am going to go back to the beginning of the problem. It was 2 times the quantity, x minus 1, plus 3 equals to x minus 3 times x plus 1. So I'm hearing your question as this. Why didn't we combine these two right here? Is that your question?
Yeah, like wouldn't that be a term? Because I took that as a term. I didn't take the 3 had to be multiplied. I took it as x minus 3 was a term that had to be multiplied by x plus 1.
Oh, okay. Now, remember PEMDAS. PEMDAS says, all right, I don't know if that's what the confusion is at. This 3 right here is indicating multiplication in front of the parentheses. So you got multiplication, and then you got subtraction. Which comes first? Multiplication comes before subtraction when you do PEMDAS. You see that?
Okay.
And remember, in the steps, when we're doing the steps to figure out the solution to the problem, you've got to get rid of the parentheses first. You have to. All right, guys. So next, everybody, I'm going to give you another one. 5x minus 2x, and I want you guys to go ahead and try it out. This is example number 2. Is equal to x. Ooh, this is very similar to the previous one. Okay, you guys give this one a try. And this is example number 2 here. Let's see what you guys come up with. How you guys doing?
Doing okay.
All right, anybody got an answer?
I got x equals 3.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, guys. So the first thing I did was distribute the negative over the parentheses. And next, I'm going to combine like terms on the left side. 5x take away 2x leaves me with 3x. Bring down the minus 2. Bring down the 4x minus 5. Then I am going to subtract 3x from both sides. So this cancels out, leaving me with a negative 2 equals x minus 5. And then I'm adding the 5 to both sides. So I get 3 is equal to x. By the way, guys, notice on this one, the x is on the right side. It doesn't matter which side your variable is on. As long as you have your x isolated, it doesn't matter which side is on. Okay, so the answer for this one is just 3. All right, now earlier I mentioned not every single equation you work out will come out to an exact value that will make the original problem true. Every once in a while, you will encounter problems where you cannot find one exact solution that will make it true, guys. So here's an example. Let's look at this one right here. 3 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 6x minus 2. If we were attempting to solve this one, we'd distribute the 3. So we get 6x plus 3 is equal to 6x minus 2. And then we would proceed to combining like terms. So we would subtract 6x on both sides. Now, guys, I want you to see what's happening here. 6x takes away 6x. 6x also takes away 6x on the right side, leaving you with no variable. So you have a statement because you don't have a variable to solve for. The variable has been canceled out. So now you have to ask the question, is the left side equal to the right side? Is negative 3 equal to negative 2? And the answer would be no.
Wouldn't that be a positive 3?
Yeah, isn't that a positive 3?
Oh, Shazam, yes. Okay. It still won't be equal, by the way. That's the point I'm trying to make people. Come on now. Okay. It's still not equal. So guys, this statement right here contradicts itself. The original problem said the left side was supposed to equal to the right side. But once you start unraveling the problem, you notice, wait a minute, the left side is not equal to the right side. So these type of equations that contradict itself, a contradiction, these type of problems, we say they have no solution. We cannot find a single value that will make the original problem true. So when you encounter these, where you cannot find a single value that will make the problem true, you end up with a statement that is false, okay? We say it has no solution. The symbol we use for no solution is the 0 with the slash through it. So if you ever see the symbol right here, guys, it means no solution. There is not a single value that will make this problem true. So that's another type of equation we will encounter. All right. And then here's a third type you will also see while working through these problems. 3 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 6x plus 3. Now, in this particular problem, very similar to the last one, but guys, look at what happens. When you distribute, you get 6x plus 3 equals to 6x plus 3. What do you notice right here? The left side is identical to the right side. So because the left side is identical to the right side here, whatever value we plug into this problem for x, we're going to plug it on the right side and the left side, so it will always be true. So for this one, if you can't see it, let's say we're to subtract the 6x on both sides. Once again, 6x takes away 6x. 6x takes away 6x. We're left with 3 is equal to 3. Now this statement right here is actually true. The left side is equal to the right side. So in other words, it will always be true. Regardless of what value you plug in for x, it will always be true. So these type of equations, we say they have many solutions. And so the name we give this one is an identity. I forgot to name the previous one. I'll go back and name it for you in a minute. When you have an equation that has many solutions, we refer to it as an identity because the left side is always going to equal to the right side. The symbol we use for this, guys, is a capital letter R. And sometimes you will hear it say infinitely many solutions, all reals. They all mean the exact same thing, guys. All reals, same thing, okay? So these are the three types of equations you will see. Ones where you have one solution, no solution, and many solutions. By the way, since I didn't mention this earlier, let me just mention it. If an equation has no solution, we refer to it as inconsistent. Inconsistent. Contradiction is not bad, but inconsistent is the name we give it. All right, guys. So those are your three types of equations. Now, what happens when you encounter those equations with fractions? What are you going to do with the ones that have fractions? By the way, guys, when I do the example problems, I make sure I do example problems that are similar to what you're going to see when you go into the assignments. I always make sure to include questions you're going to see in the assignments. So what happens when we have these equations that have fractions? How do we manipulate them?
Times everything by 10.
Right. Multiply everything by the LCD. Now, guys, be careful with this one. This one has 4 terms. So this is the first term. We're going to multiply it by 10. 10 is the LCD. Okay, my stylus is not writing here. Okay, let me try this one more time. Okay, so we're going to multiply everything by 10. This is also a term right here. We're going to multiply it by 10. This is a term. This one is a term. So every single term gets multiplied by 10, guys. Every term. So now the purpose of this is to eliminate the fractions out. So now we're going to simplify. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 3x is 6x. Any questions on how to get that 6x? Any questions? All right, I'm gonna go to the second term. I'm gonna bring down the minus. 10 times x is 10x. I'm moving to the right side of the equation. The 10s cancel each other out, leaving me with x. Okay, now 10 divided by 2, or 2 goes into 10, 5 times. And then I'm going to take the 5 and multiply the numerator by it. So I get 25. So guys, we've eliminated the fractions. And once you eliminate the fractions, you have a simpler problem to work with. So I am now going to finish out the problem. 6x take away 10x is negative 4x. Bring down the x and then plus the 25. I am going to subtract x from both sides. Any questions? Now on the left side, guys, negative 4x minus x is going to turn out to be negative 5x. I'm moving to the top because I'm out of room at the bottom. And of course, this cancels out over here, leaving me with 25. So what's the value of x, guys? What's the value of x to this one?
5, I think.
Not just 5, but negative 5, because we're dividing by negative 5. So negative 5 times negative 5 gives you positive 25. So the solution for this one is negative 5. Now, when you guys go into My Math Lab, you type in your solution, they will already give you your set notation. So all you have to do is type in the solution inside those braces, the set notation. All right, guys, now this next problem, example number 4, is going to be on the test. It is going to be on the test. Now, guys, remember, I am not going to be going over everything because apparently I'm not even supposed to be teaching, but I don't feel comfortable not teaching and just letting you guys work out. Oh, look at me. I started with the LCD already, guys. I didn't mean to put this here. Okay, get rid of that. Neither do I mean to put the parentheses here. I started solving the problem, for goodness sake. Okay, that's the problem, guys. Okay, so you will see this one on the test. Now, this one is a little bit more complicated. So I am going to take my time with it. The beautiful thing about having all this technology is that there's a recording of this, and you can always go back and reference the recording. All right, guys. So what's the LCD between 6, 8, and 4? I already told you guys.
24.
24. All right, guys. So I'm going to multiply each term by the 24. Now, I like doing it right next to the term. You could also put in there a large bracket around the entire problem and do it that way. It really doesn't matter. The goal is to eliminate the fractions out. Okay. So guys, here we go. 6 goes into 24 4 times. So now you're going to have to multiply the numerator by the 4. So 4 times x plus 3. That's the first fraction. Now we go to the second fraction. 8 goes into 24 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. And then for the last fraction, 4 goes into 24 6 times. So now you're going to multiply the numerator by 6. All right. Now, guys, you notice when I multiply the numerator, there are 2 terms in the last numerator, and there are 2 terms in the first numerator, so be careful with this. And once the fractions have been eliminated, you have a simpler problem to work with. So now it's all about distributing and solving the problem out. So you get 4x plus 12 is equal to 9 plus 6x minus 30. You want to combine the 9 with the negative 30 right here. So you get 4x plus 12 is equal to negative 21 plus 6x. Okay, you guys finish it out. Let's see what you guys come up with. Don't forget to do your attendance, guys, if you haven't already done the attendance. What you guys get? All right, nobody's
I got
saying.
16.5. I don't know if that's right.
You got 16.5? No, that is correct. The only thing is, when you're in my math lab doesn't like fractions. I mean, doesn't like decimals, so you have to use the fraction. The attendance code is 4352. Okay, guys. So once again, I'm gonna reiterate this. This is very, very important. My math lab doesn't like decimals. So if you solve a problem, you get a fraction, make sure, guys, to include the fractional answer. Do not convert it to a decimal, okay? So essentially, I'm adding the 21 to both sides, so I get 33 is equal to 2x. And then the last step is to divide both sides by the 2. So you end up with a fraction in the form of 33 over 2 for the answer. And yes, you can type in 33 over 2 into the answer box on my math lab. So here's the big question for you guys. If you encounter this problem on the test, are you guys going to be able to work it out? Are you guys going to be able to do it and get the correct answer? Okay, give me a thumbs up. Use your reaction button at the bottom. Give me a thumbs up if you're going to be able to do it and come up with the correct answer. Oh, lots of thumbs up. Okay. All right. Now, if your thumb is not up and you're feeling a little confused by this one, you might want to ask a question or two. One of the easiest questions to ask, because most students don't know where to start asking the questions, is, can you do another one like that? All right, sounds like you guys have had enough for today. All right, like I said, I don't plan on keeping you guys on here for that long because it's hard to sit in front of the computer for a long period of time. So we can call it here, guys, but then you would have to make sure you log on and try to do the assignments. As a reminder, when you were working on the assignments, guys, you never have to finish an assignment in one sitting. If you encounter problems you're having a difficult time with and you cannot figure them out, you can always X out of the assignment. Leave those problems alone. And then when you come to class, we can go over those questions and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. So how are you guys feeling right now? Do you want me to continue or do you want to go ahead and call it a night? Okay, I see a thumbs up sort of from Layla over there. I think that's a thumbs up to call it a night. Okay, guys, so let me just say this. If you're feeling comfortable, you've already done your quizzes. I mean, not quizzes, I'm sorry. You've already done your attendance and you're feeling comfortable, you can call it a night. We can stop here. And then for those of you who don't feel comfortable, you feel like you need to ask me some questions, you need me to clarify something, you need to ask questions about the class and what's going on, you're welcome to stay after. I'll be here until about 8:30 with you. All right. So if you're feeling comfortable right now, you're welcome to exit out. If you're not, we can continue.
Bye. See you next Monday.
All right. Bye.
Monday, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop